Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. So it's finally happening. After years of disappointment, after frankly sounding like a crazy person yelling into a microphone, come on Joe Rogan, you gotta have Donald Trump on your show. After all this time, it seems we've finally spoken it into existence. Joe Rogan finally got off his high horse. Enough with the pretentious bullcrap, I'm just being as honest as I possibly can here. And finally, he's doing something, or rather doing the right thing. You know, I've never understood the argument as to why he never wanted to have Trump on his show. Some people would say that, well, Joe Rogan didn't want to get political, but that was always a weird argument, considering Joe Rogan had no qualms having many other politicians appear on his show with no issue. I mean, no issue having Bernie Sanders on his show, right? I just never understood it, especially considering how important this election is, and how important, frankly, the last election was. And we know Joe Rogan understands the threat. He's been very vocal on these issues.
Is it possible that you're doing this because this guy's running for president?
Right.
Because it kind of seems like it to the world.
Yeah, it looks real.
It looks real suspicious.
Like
It looks real like you're trying to prosecute your political opponents. These are like the actions of a banana republic. You take your political rival and you arrest him. And specifically, you charge him with things that you're guilty of. Like the documents, like the classified documents. Biden's guilty of the exact same issue. Like, who the gets to decide what's information? Only the government? You guys? The people that have lied about basically everything? Like, this is a crazy thing to say, and to be running on that, and to get people to support that. Just the lack of understanding of what it means to be able to freely express ideas and communicate, and whistleblowers.
Joe Rogan knows what's at stake, and so I never understood it, but at this point, he's totally redeemed, totally forgiven. Joe Rogan is having Donald Trump on his show, and boy, is it gonna be a frickin' doozy. Let's have a conversation about what to expect and what kind of effect I think it's gonna have on this election. But before we get into any of it, this video is actually brought to you guys by a sponsor, so let's play that clip. This video is brought to you guys by Ground News. Folks, these days it almost feels as though we're in an information war zone. There's so many people saying so many different things, it's hard to know what's true and what's not. And obviously in moments like these, you gotta be getting your information from good, trusted sources. And that is exactly where Ground News comes in. Ground News is one of the most trusted news aggregators in the business. And beyond just news aggregation, this incredible website also helps you fill in the blanks with their incredible, innovative blind spot tool. Just take a look at the blind spot page here, folks, where they list all the top stories of the week, showing you all the sources and of course the partisan lean of those sources. In other words, showing you what stories each side is purposely trying to avoid or shove under the rug. I mean, just take a look at these stories, for instance. We've got FBI revised 2022 crime data showing violent offenses rising rather than dropping, and another story showing human trafficking of immigrant children tripled under the Biden-Harris border policies. You know, two incredibly damning, relevant reports that, as you see down here, are only receiving coverage from right-wing sources. They show you the partisan bias in real time with very clear, simple to understand graphics. It's the place to be, folks. If you want to red pill your family members, all you gotta do is pull up Ground News and say, look what your side is ignoring. Don't you think this stuff's a little bit important? I'm sure you guys get exactly what I'm saying. It's simply the place to be. It's a fantastic app. And here's the kicker. If you want to join me on Ground News, I got a fantastic offer for you guys. Simply click the link down below in the description, go to ground.news/hivemind, or just simply scan the QR code that you see on screen right now, and you can get 40% off their Vantage plan, which gives you full access to all of their incredible tools. Take advantage of this special offer. A huge thank you to Ground News. Now back to the video. Alright folks, so it's finally happening. And what I want to focus on here is, like I just said in the intro, what to expect. Folks, I think this is going to be absolutely brutal. See, Donald Trump doesn't really get too many opportunities to go on a show of this size and interact with a host that's actually honest and beyond honest, actually knows what's going on, at least on a surface level. Joe Rogan's tuned in to the world of politics. Is he passionate about politics? No, I wouldn't say so, but he's certainly surrounded by a lot of people who are, and he has a lot of political conversations, mostly due to the guests that he has on his show. This is a very unique opportunity. It's an opportunity for finally the truth to be exposed, and not just to a small audience or a relatively decent audience, but to the masses. Joe Rogan has 14 million followers on Spotify alone, and that's just Spotify. That's not counting all the clips that are going to be bouncing around all over Twitter, his presence on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. I mean, the list goes on. The impressions here are most likely going to reach in the billions. Billions with a B. I mean, it's beyond mainstream, I'd argue. The reach that this podcast is going to have is going to be so far beyond what you could achieve with a 60 Minutes interview or a CNN town hall, and it's not even close. And this is what creates such a unique opportunity, because it's the only time that Donald Trump's going to have this opportunity to reach so many people and to be able to really get into it. You know, what I'm expecting is Kamala Harris getting completely exposed as an utter fraud. Joe Rogan's not scared to go there. In fact, he's been there.
Everybody forever was like, Kamala Harris is the worst vice president. She's the least popular vice president of all time. And then in a moment in time, all of a sudden she's our solution. She's our hero. Everybody's with her. All these social media posts about her. Try Googling a negative story on her. You won't find one.
So,
ta-da! Okay, you try to be the wokest, but she's whatever. Everyone should be more woke. And she's like laughing. It's like, what the f?
And when we all sing happy tunes and sing Merry Christmas and wish each other Merry Christmas, these children are not going to have a Merry Christmas. How dare we speak Merry Christmas? How dare we? Merry Christmas, everyone.
You know, like I've been saying, Joe Rogan knows. He knows exactly what's up. And of course, the left pretends as if they own a monopoly on the concept of truth and honesty. Donald Trump's the only liar, right? They only tell truth. But I'd argue that's literally the opposite of the truth. Democrats, I'd say, are the biggest political scoundrels in the game. They're the biggest liars. And now in front of everyone, those lies are going to be exposed. Whether it's the Project 2025 nonsense, Kamala Harris claiming that Donald Trump wants to ban IVF or sign a national abortion ban, whether it's this nonsense that Donald Trump is literally Hitler, or I guess the implication of this constant rhetoric putting Donald Trump's life in actual jeopardy, or this ridiculous claim that Kamala Harris keeps making in their pathetic Hail Mary attempt to swing this election around. They keep saying that Donald Trump wants to send the military on his political opponents. Oh, he's crafting a list. I mean, that's the stuff coming out of Kamala Harris's mouth. During the CNN town hall, she literally said Donald Trump was a fascist.
You've quoted General Milley calling Donald Trump a fascist. You yourself have not used that word to describe him. Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
And her Kamala HQ X account continues with the same ridiculous nonsense, claiming Donald Trump's making a list so he can sick the military on all of those people. You know, it's just so utterly ridiculous. It's all lies. And I think it's all going to get exposed in this interaction. Joe Rogan's going to go there. He's going to go to the places where the media refuses. And it's just going to be an incredible opportunity, which I think is going to pay political dividends like we've never seen before. And I think the left knows this as well. I mean, they're already trying to get ahead of this thing. Some of these articles are just ridiculous. I mean, just take a look at these two, for instance. How Joe Rogan went from MMA moron to White House kingmaker. Trump cancels all of his events in favor of one of the worst people ever. Donald Trump will be sitting down with Joe Rogan. You know, so here we go. The Democrats trying to spin a narrative, writing their ridiculous hit pieces. You can tell they know exactly what's happening. They know how bad this is gonna be. And some people are suggesting Trump's gonna bomb on Rogan's show, but I mean, really? I mean, this is Trump's bread and butter. Being an actual human being and having a great conversation. This is what Trump does best, if anything. He's become the #1 podcast guest for a reason. People love having him on, and it's really been a fantastic PR run. I think this conversation is going to be raw, and it's going to be unscripted and uncontrolled by some editorial board or by some leftist billionaire trying to control the narrative. And that right there is what the Democrats are scared of. They're scared of the truth. Finally, a truthful conversation about all of it. The southern border, censorship, the First and Second Amendment, the left's political persecution in undemocratic ways, the lies, the slander, the manipulations. It's all going to come to light, and millions upon millions of people are going to be exposed to the truth. And that right there probably has them shaking in their boots. And really the proof is in the pudding, because you know they've attempted to craft this narrative that Donald Trump is scared, he's not showing up to these debates, he's not showing up to interviews, he's, quote, exhausted, and Kamala Harris tried to play this little shtick during her CNN town hall.
Mentioned, by the way, again, Donald Trump should be here tonight to talk with you and answer your questions. He's not. He refused to come.
Okay, so, well, Trump's done a million town halls before. He's cooked in every single one of them. Not to mention, she's the clown that didn't show up to the Al Smith dinner. And she also happens to be the person who didn't take Joe Rogan up on the offer. That tells you all that you need to know. They're scared. They know that this podcast is not for them. Just like Kamala rallies aren't for Christian people and Catholics. Her words, not mine, by the way.
Oh, you guys are at the wrong rally.
They know that Joe Rogan's podcast is essentially Democrat kryptonite. You can't go there if you're a dishonest Dem. You're gonna get exposed. Her team was in talks with the Rogan team to set an interview up after it was announced that Trump was gonna be on Rogan, and would you look at that? They backed out of the podcast. I wonder why. It's obvious, isn't it? She would get exposed. But showing up or not showing up won't make a difference, because she's gonna get exposed regardless. The Trump-Rogan interview is going to be brutal for her campaign. That's it. That's all. Anyways, that's pretty much what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.